Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. Welcome to yet another edition of Africa Discourse. I am Wilson Marshall. Today is all about what is going on right now in Kenya. The endorsement of a presidential candidate by an arch rival. But I've heard about Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, where their fans, talking about, their supporters, they've clapped severally and hundreds, so to speak, lives were lost due to the onslaught of these two groups who will be the president of Kenya. But right now, Uhuru Kenyatta choose to endorse Raila Odinga. Some were shocked about the reconciliation. Some were disappointed about the reconciliation. Some were like, what is really going on? Food for thought. Anyway, with me here to share their thoughts and, of course, their opinion on this particular discourse, I have two great analysts with me in the studio. Let me start off with a legal practitioner, human rights activist. Join me to welcome Barrister Emmanuel Obakpolo. Barrister, welcome to Africa Discourse. Appreciate your coming.
Good afternoon, Africans. Good afternoon, Wilson.
Right. I sit very close to him. He is a lecturer, a clergyman, and, of course, a political analyst. Join me to welcome Honorable Frank Amego. Welcome to Africa Discourse.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you coming.
Pleasure being here.
All right. Were you shocked when you saw Uhuru Kenyatta, as in a long-time arch nemesis, so to speak, until they're now made up of Raila Odinga, being prophesied or blessed or given the mandate to come be the president of Kenya after so much battle between these two great personalities? Honorable Frank, let's start with you.
What is playing out there now in Kenya, in a way, was expected. Expected because you can draw inspiration from what has happened in Nigeria. And to create a background, I will just mention a bit of what happened in Nigeria. During the time of President Olusegun Obasanjo, while Atiku Abubakar was the vice president, and they had issues. Amongst them was the BPE, Bureau of Public Enterprises. And there is no way at any time up to now that Chief Olusegun Obasanjo will still support the political interests of Atiku Abubakar. Even on his 85th birthday, he still made reference to it indirectly, that if EFCC was up and doing, some of these presidential aspirants would have been in jail. So let's travel to Kenya now. Now, the relationship between the president, Uhuru Kenyatta, and his deputy, Williams Ruto, was cordial for so many years. And that is not maybe far from the age bracket. The president is 61, while Ruto is a young man of 54. Now, what happened was in 2018, when Kenyatta and Odinga agreed. As we introduced, they have been long-time enemies. And the enmity between two of them should have been the responsibility of the deputy president to even show interest. Because Kenya has been a country ruled by dynasties. And both of them, the president, Kenyatta, and Odinga, came from two different dynasties, so to speak. While Ruto is just an ordinary man, so to speak. But the challenge that came up was the deputy president was having issues with policies and programs made by the president. And the president felt slighted. Why would my deputy be so involved? I recall in 2017, when there was an election and a lot of persons died. And again, the contestant then against the president, Odinga, did not accept the victory. So they went to their Supreme Court in Kenya, and the Supreme Court in Kenya ruled that there should be a rerun. And the day came, the political party of Odinga did not feature any candidate. So it was now a landslide victory for Kenyatta. So that was on one side. Maybe I had to KIV it. How do I reward him for not showing up?
Okay.
Then not quite long before I will conclude on this one. What happened there was the deputy was now having issues with the president.
Okay.
And the president now had to agree in 2018 with Odinga as his anointed candidate.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. We heard that at first, many persons lost their life because of the clash between these two great names, dynasties, Uhuru Kenyatta and, of course, Raila Odinga. Before we hear from Barrister Emmanuel Obakola, we want to go for a break. When we return, you're going to hear his own thoughts and opinion on this particular issue. Voters, electorates, please stay tuned and watch. You have a lot to learn from this. Some politicians, are they worth dying for? Don't go away. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Joining us right now in the studio. He is a human rights activist, a political analyst, and entrepreneur. Join me to welcome Godsent. Everyone say Godsent. Welcome to Africa Discourse. I appreciate your coming.
Thank you, Winston. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, viewers.
All right.
Pleasure.
Barrister Emmanuel Obakola, you heard a foundation led by Honorable Frank and Mego talking about a brief history between the two dynasty, their reps, so to speak, Kenyatta and of course Raila Odinga. On several occasions, they clashed because of disputing election results and many persons lost their life. But right now, the arch nemesis, so to speak, of Uhuru Kenyatta is being anointed by him, saying you are the one that we need right now in Kenya. What do you think changed at this period?
Well, I am not surprised.
You're not surprised?
Yes, I am not surprised. What is playing out in Kenya goes to show or goes to tell that African leaders have seized power from the people. The people just now are just there. But the leaders have conspired against the people. And that's why you see, like my co-panelist said, people have died. People have been battered, some maimed. And it is this time that the supporters of the two factions who had been arch enemies, arch rivals, today, the same persons they were supporting or are still supporting have now come together and anointing each other. It goes to tell the people that the people are not important in African politics. And that's why, to my mind, I feel that the people should look at what is happening just now in Kenya closely. That is Nigerians now. I'm talking to Nigerians, addressing Nigerians. Should look at what is happening in Kenya closely to see that there is a gross conspiracy amongst the leaders against the people. If you die for a politician, you lose your life for a politician, you die and you die worthlessly. Today, the man is anointing the other one and say, look, you are the one now that is to rule. It simply shows that African leaders will just sit down, map out the political arithmetics, and begin to grant to themselves the realm of African powers, the seat of political powers. And the people will just be down there and begin to watch. Just like George Owen put in his book, Animal Farm. Africa is a classic example of that animal farm just now, where you have a group of persons who have built dynasties for themselves, empire for themselves, and they begin to rule, and they jettison the people. The people are not after the good of the people. They're after themselves. And that's why you see Africa is not growing. Kenya has two major cities. Nairobi, the capital, and Mombasa. And the population of Kenya is 55.8 million. You have in Kenya. The GDP of Kenya is growing higher in the negative. So those African leaders who have ruled, past leaders in Kenya and the current one who have ruled Kenya, how much have they affected the lives of the people? Nothing. And neither Uhuru Kenyatta nor Raila Odinga have sat down to ask themselves questions. How do I impact the life of Kenyans? Instead, they are now playing the chase game. Otherwise, they are now playing the Ludo, as we say in Africa, in Nigeria, playing the Ludo to see how they can begin to share to themselves. Perhaps when he succeeds, the allotment of portfolios, political portfolios, they begin to share it. That is what we see in Africa.
All right, I'll come back to you, Barrister. You just brought up something about 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Towards the end of that book, what happened? There was a change in narratives. Well, God sends. What do you feel? Are you surprised? Were you taken aback, or were you happy about the development?
For me, it's a mixed feeling.
Mixed feelings?
Yes, I said that to make a point, or to drive home a point. When you say settlement, after a long period of disputes between 2 political warlords, so to speak, ordinarily, we usually used the political term or the English word in a spirit of sportsmanship. Probably they are trying to give peace a chance. You know, that's why I said it's misfeeling. But however, like I tell people, sincerity is not enough. You might be sincerely killing me. Meaning that what is more
sincerely killing me.
Yes, you can be sincerely destroying us. You are just being sincere. So being sincere is not enough. You know, and that is, you know, a different thought entirely. Now, why did I bring that concept into this? I'm trying to say that in the eyes of people, when you say settlement, oh, it's a good thing. At last they are settling. But somebody once said, hidden in the words is volume of thoughts. In every word that a wise man says is volume of thoughts. I became worried reading through the history of, you know, during the colonial period, after post-colonial era, until date. I became worried because when you go through the whole of Africa, in fact, most of the African countries, it's the same narrative. I tried to relate Kenya issue to the Congolese, to Nigeria, and some other few African, you know, history. You discover that we are still so far from where we ought to be. It is sad because when some of our leaders do things, they do it as if they are leading a goat. You know why I said so? Because when you rise up and think that power is a birthright, how can a country like Kenya, over the years, even if you go into history, the moment one of the founding fathers, those that fought against the colonial dominant, was the Kenyatta family. You know, in fact, immediately after that, after independence, he became the, I'm talking about his forefathers now, became the prime minister. The same thing, the other Odinga or whatever, they all have a history of kill and divide. Now, that alone is troublesome. When a politician wakes up somewhere in Africa and says, you are the next to take over from me, who anoints a candidate? Is it a man or the people, like what our Honorable Barrister was saying? You know, it shows that we seems to be like a people, like our very learned lecturers will say, that is still at the medieval period. A time where we are still yet to even wake up to present realities. All right. Now, this, what is currently going on in Kenya, is a physical demonstration of what is going on across the African countries. It is a play between the elite and the ordinary citizen. In this case, you can take the guy Ruto, who is just an ordinary person, trying, one of his goals was to break that chain. We cannot continue, and he has said that we cannot continue to be under. So we cannot continue to be under the rulership of just two dynasties. Are they the only ones that have the intellectual power? And mind you, these are old men that should be retiring.
Okay.
Because by age, they have lost this physical strength and mental capacity. Ruto is just 54. A young man that would have been able probably to champion the cause. And very key to what Barrister said, what has been the narrative of Kenya since these people have held Kenya hostage? Economically zero, educationally nothing, employment nothing.
Just hold on now. Okay, he said two families, dynasty is being on for quite a while right now. Do you think that Ruto, in this particular case, the deputy or vice president, is sacrificial lamb in all the situation?
Well, for Ruto, reality should now appear to him that he shouldn't run.
He should run?
He shouldn't.
He shouldn't run?
He shouldn't. Because from the realities on ground, any attempt he makes to spend his hard-earned money will result to impoverishment. When your best friend becomes a friend of your arch-enemy, so everything will be down. And just as we have all analyzed so far, Ruto should just step aside because there is no reason to win it. Already Odinga has formed a coalition of parties, over 20, and I don't know the adjective to use to qualify why Kenyatta will also join in that coalition. I don't know how to qualify that. You are the sitting president. You shouldn't be agitated. I'm thinking, because at 61, he's 61, and Odinga is 77. One would expect that a 61-year-old president should hand over to someone that is older than. Not that you hand over to a 77-year-old man. What are you going to deliver to the people? So I see that as a plot towards creating more problems for Kenya. And if such a thing continues, it will get to a point in time that Kenyans will now want to rise up. But I don't know why they're sort of suppressed or depressed or repressed, as the case may be, why these things are going on. Well, we're not getting feelers from Kenyans as to whether they will accept the personality of Ruto. But from last month, when President Kenyatta addressed some persons, you could see a large crowd in support of what Kenyatta has done in the endorsement of Odinga. Yes. So that should, in a way, create suspicion in the minds of the Kenyans that the next set of things we are going to be having in Kenya will not lead to the progress of the people. And Kenyatta openly said there is Odinga that understands the dynamics, the mechanics of the direction of this present Kenya. So he's the person that he should anoint, and of course he anointed him. And before now he anointed Ruto. What went wrong? Maybe he's thinking that Ruto knew so much about his type of government that Ruto will go there and change the plan. So it's out of fear. Otherwise, the person that is fighting you, you on your own went to appease him. It should be the reverse, whereby Odinga will come begging, cap in hand. Please, President, let's settle our scores. But the reverse became the case such that the president went to meet him and aligned his own party with the coalition.
Now, he raised 2 points. He said Ruto shouldn't even bother. He shouldn't run for the presidency because of the humongous task in winning the seat. Talking about coalition of two great dynasties against one singular, in quote right now, ordinary citizen of Kenya. He talked about also the crowd present when Uhuru Kenyatta made a particular statement and anointed a 77-year-old Raila Odinga. I mean, take it up from there.
Yes, that is the reason why African leaders have chosen to impoverish the people. when poverty smiles on somebody, the person takes anything that comes from even his enemy. That is the position just now. However, in Kenya, we saw some time ago, despite these two dynasties, we saw somebody who came and broke the dynasty, but he didn't do well himself. Daniel Arab Moi.
Arab boy.
Yes, once upon a time ruled Kenya. He broke the dynasty, he came out, and so I take exception to what my friend and lecturer, my pastor said. I take exception to that. I would advise Ruto to continue, because you see, this is a fight that you don't give up on. It is a fight.
You talk about his money also, because politics is money.
Listen, with or without the money, the man should keep on. In Africa, we have come to make money the order of the day in politics. And that is the singular reason why you see African leaders have conspired, gang up against the people. Let's ensure that we get all the money. Impoverish the people. Make the people to be poor to the last kobo. Make them so that penury will smile on them. So that the order of the day for them will be penury, abject penury. That is what African leaders are doing. Because African leaders think that the only way they can smile to the Western world is when they have so much. And when they have so much in their pockets, when they have so much in their bank accounts, when they have so much in their bags, and they take it to the Western world, to develop the Western world, as against developing Africa. That is what they are doing. But look at it. Time will come where the people will begin to notice that, just like what played out in Animal Farm, the people will begin to wonder. You know, somewhere along the line in Animal Farm, Snowball disappeared. And Snowball and Napoleon were the one who planned the liberation of the animals. But that is what has happened also, that is what happened and is still happening in Kenya. Ruto was brought in because the man has integrity. Wanted to use the man's integrity to cover their shame. And they brought him in. But somewhere along the line, they rubbished him. And I threw him out and said, go and look for how you can survive. Hence, you don't want to take our dictations. And that is what is happening today in Africa. So African leaders have, like I did say from the outset, African leaders have conspired against the people. And they strongly hold it tenaciously that we are going to ensure that the people are down the ladder while we remain up there. And that is why you see today in Africa, you have diseases, you have sickness, you have all form of not anything, but God in His majesty is even helping Africa that some of the terrible pandemic and diseases are not emanating from here. If not, we will all die. If breath is to be canned and given to our leaders to share it to the people they rule, they will keep it for themselves and their family.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Barrister. But I take a look at the Kenya situation. Paul said that by Uhuru Kenyatta's mathematics to prevent further bloodshed. Remember, it happened previously, not once, not twice, where both dynasties and supporters clashed. Some persons lost their life, and Kenya was like, in tatters until Uhuru Kenyatta, through might and every other means, came out tops. That this should be welcomed in the sense that it's going to prevent any form of bloodshed, or will I say any form of post-election violence, especially if that mandate was given to the Deputy President, Ruto. And that, when you talk like this, Winston, it makes me remember that, again, like I always say, analysts are saying it. When you talk like this, it only makes me remember that, indeed, what we had at independence was really independence, but not freedom. When you give analysis like this, it seems as if we are still under the whims and caprices of some persons. Why would there be bloodshed? Because Ruto decide to run, or if Kenyatta had picked up Ruto. You know what has happened? Let me tell you what has happened in the little sense I have about what plays out in Africa when it comes to politics. The two dominant dynasties have met to say, you are about to take this thing away from our family. You know what you're about to do? See, that's what happens in Africa. You know what you're about to do? If this thing leaves our carcass, these people, did you hear what Ruto is saying? That he wants to break that gene, that dominance. And for Kenyan, they have independence, but they still need freedom. For me, I do not subscribe that Ruto should back out. The essence of politics, I always say this all the time, should not be to win election. You shouldn't contest because you must win. Sometimes it's not about winning, it's about making a statement. So we need reformers that will begin to think like this. For Ruto, from my own point of view, if you have a reform agenda like he has said, he wants to break the status quo, then you don't back out. Except your only interest is to win. And that's exactly what Odinga just showed. It's not about the protest and the violence, was not about a policy difference. It was about, it's supposed to be me. This country will be ungovernable, except it is my tribe. It has happened in Nigeria now. It's still happening. Things will not move on, except that's how Boko Haram came. And today it has become our greatest undoing. It has given birth to banditry and what have you. My point is that the motive of getting in shouldn't just be all about, I must win. Sometimes, some reformers, some people with a good heart should get in to make the big statement. I want to quickly say this. I need you to also remember, like I said before, when you talk about people coming out for such sensitive elective position, you need to begin to go into antecedents. You have been majorly, these two tribes have dominated the political space. Over the years, are we better or we are not? This worry also takes me to the commoners. You know, as ordinary Kenyans, Nigerians, and all over Africa, we must also show to our leaders that we are smart enough, we are wiser, and we are ready. It's just like, I think Nigeria is part of this African discourse. Just like when we were hearing about the news of Ahmed and electoral law that you have already signed, Section 84. For me, it was madness. It was madness. You want me to be in political office? I mean, God, sometimes it's crazy. People rule as if the people they are governing didn't go to school. Okay. We don't have a lecturer. Now, it now behoves on us to use every necessary apparatus within the ambit of the law to fight for our freedom.
All right, I'll come back to you. You talked about having independence, but no freedom. I believe that independence and freedom are like, one are the same thing, so to speak. But now take a look at it. Said, look, Ruto should run no matter what, either to make a statement. But with the combination of two opposing forces, that's huge. A lot of Raila, Odinga, and of course Uhuru Kenyatta. What chance does it really stand if not to make a statement? But take a look at Kenya. The election is coming up, maybe towards August or thereabout. People have been talking about this. It's like the populace, they are happy about this. That's what you really attested to, because both of you talked about the populace. The leadership strangling the people. But for crying out loud, you should see the number of persons in that arena that we are cheering. The anointing of Uhuru Kenyatta on Raila Odinga. I mean, are people bewitched, or that's what we want in Kenya?
Yes, what my colleagues here just said. In economics, they say, all things being equal.
All things being equal.
That's the perspective they are looking at. And in science, it's under normal circumstances, under standard temperature and pressure. Okay. But what we are saying in Kenya, now it's not as normal. We are talking about abnormal situation. That's why I suggested or I advised that Ruto should step aside. One, election is holding on the 9th of August this year. Time is short. There is no cheap election, whether in Africa or outside Africa. Nothing is cheap. And with the people, the two dynasties have gathered together. What is about number? You want to make a statement, who takes note of a statement? Do you know that there was a day I was watching CNN. I saw it was a group of white people They were protesting. And I started laughing. The next time my children ran towards me, said, what? I said, look at the TV. They said, did you see why I was laughing? What are they doing? They were throwing tomatoes at a building. That's the type of anger. It's not to protest in Nigeria, it's not to protest in Nigeria. If you try that in Nigeria, nobody will drive past you. Tomatoes against another. So, or you say, I will eat. Government of Nigeria, you will eat. Okay, that's the business. So, with the way Kenya is, from what is playing out, that's why I still want to say, Ruto, just hold on. I don't have anything against him. But the forces against him, do you know that in January, it is March, in January 2022, President Uhuru Kenyatta signed a bill into law on the adjustment of the electoral processes. There was a thing he did, and he adjusted that system against deputy president. So what Ruto is fighting now is a system. It's not about the people again. But the system now will not allow him. It's just like you want to go back home.
Africa does not have system.
Well, they created it. It becomes legal. The bill has been signed into law.
They know how to suspend him.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That electoral adjustment will work against him. So if he does otherwise, they can arrest him. So one, I use you as an example now. You know, so the Tumblr and the rest of them, they are flooded. And you want to go back home for an urgent assignment. Then I now make a law. You are within the studio now. I make a law that there's a curfew. Once it's 2 p.m., no movement till the next day. I'll make that law to disfavor you. So when you now want to breach it, that based on not fully aware, the law does not know whether you are aware or not. Once that law is made in your absence, you can't go home until tomorrow, until the curfew is relaxed. So that's what President Kenyatta is doing against the deputy. That's what I'm advising. From the handwriting on the wall, this man can't survive contesting. Can't survive it. Barrister, over to you.
I still disagree with him.
Cannot survive because you gave him.
I still disagree with him absolutely.
Of the electoral act. Talk about the two dynasties. Talk about him being expelled from the party. He had to go join another party to do what he wants to do. I
just pointed shortly how a man came from nowhere and he ruled. Daniel Arap Moi. I don't want to go much and talk about him. Though he came in, we thought he was going to make a change in Kenya. But he told the line of the past leaders. And today, Kenya is where she is. One thing about life generally, and politics in particular, is change. That's why you saw over here in Nigeria in 2014, some group of persons came and told us, change, change, change. We all align with the train of change. But the train of change has left the station and gone somewhere. Let me not talk much about that. In Kenya, I would advise that Rutos remain and continue the fight. I did say, you don't give up in a fight like this. And more Kenyans should come out and contest. It mustn't be only these two dynasties over the years. No, because in Africa, the same way we have thick skin, that is how we have thick hearts. Most African leaders have strong, thick hearts to the extent when they grab power, they think they can do and undo. No, the answer is a no. So, Kenya is where she is today because nobody wants to bail the cards. Nobody wants to pay the sacrifice to see that things are done properly. Just as what we face in Nigeria, and also similar to other African countries, where you just say, okay, because I don't have the money, because I don't have the crowd we saw in Kenya during the anointing, the purported anointing, quote and unquote just now, is a paid crowd. And that's what we also see in Nigeria here, where our leaders will go and pay some group of people. Are you sure the crowd will so? I am double sure. I am double sure of that. About massive support of I am not just sure. I am double sure. The people are being impoverished. The people are facing pain. And that, just as we see here today, sorry, a little digression. We see today now, a barrel of oil is $1
of crude.
$1,000
Yes,
for a barrel of oil.
Yes.
And somebody is telling you and me that is not a good omen for Nigeria. It's a good borrowing and loan acquisition. Is it the good omen for Nigerians? That is to tell you the kind of line our leaders have told, the deceptive aspect of life, to deceive the people continually. And that is why you see in Kenya today, this purported anointing is to deceive Kenyans the more.
Okay.
And Kenyans should rise.
Okay.
And said, no, are they enjoying life in Kenya? I just told us just now, the population of Kenya, 55.8 million people, and yet they are going through this. Kenya has only 2 major cities. Nairobi, the capital, and Mombasa. Even the Mombasa, if you go to Mombasa, you weep for Kenya.
All right, I will. You just hold on. I will come back to you now. Still talking about the people. He said they have massive supporters. Bryster said, reportedly, these are rented crowds, so to speak. What are cheering Hosanna, Hosanna, the highest. At last, there is peace. We can now all move forward. If you take a look at this picture, you remember the past, talking about the clash between these two great dynasties. Do you think that peradventure, Ruto somehow, somewhere, is given the mandate? Do you think the narrative will change? Don't forget I gave an example of more.
See, Winston, the way you change is meant to be instigated.
Yeah.
There are 3 levels of change. There are those that we instigate it. There are people that championed the cause of the black, like the late Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., who did not live to see the glory of it, who did not live to see Obama becoming the president of America. But he set up change. It was not popular at that time. You are aware that he was even assassinated. Somebody would have said that I told him to just enter house and stay because the horde against him were too much. When Jesus came, the work he came to was not popular. The greatest problem Jesus had were not with sinners, it was with religious people. The Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the scribes. Those are the biggest challenge they had. It wasn't even with the sinners. Find out from the Bible. So should we have said, Jesus Christ, just enter the house, there are too many people against you? I do not subscribe that we should back out. I think it is an attitude of cowardice. No, you know what I mean by that?
This
yes,
Africa.
This is what I mean. You know, there's a popular saying, which people like my lecturer here have taught us, and it's even a biblical word, that evil prevail when good men do nothing. I have always opined that if you do nothing, you are as worst as Kenyatta or Odinga. I mean, if you think they are not good enough, you are as bad as them if you do nothing. For me, we shouldn't always be looking at the fact that Ruto will lost his hard-earned money. Because life, significance, meaning is beyond money. Martin Luther King Jr. today is long dead. But in Africa, I know of a lot of schools that still have Martin Luther King Jr. Day. What did Florence Nightingale do? Insignificant. But today, we are talking about Florence Nightingale because he took care in an exceptional way of wounded soldiers during one of the World War. What happened that brought about the Arab Spring? I don't know if you can remember. I think that should be in 2002 or thereafter. It was a little petty seller.
And that themselves are blamed.
No, I'm coming. See, listen. Let me prophesy. Change is coming. Listen, change is coming.
All right.
Then let me tell you what will happen.
Yes.
The change that is coming to Africa, let me just give you the way it started. The attempt was NSAS.
Okay.
It is coming, and we get that. A time is coming. The class of 60 will have to leave us alone. We need to be free.
Okay.
All right. You know, they need to let us be. So Ruto stand a chance to instigate that change. You may not see it. He may die in the process. He may become broke in the process. But guess what? Somebody somewhere will pick it. Okay. Somebody somewhere will make reference to it. His name will get into the high carve of history as a young man that did not stop at breaking the gene of the oppressors.
Okay, you just hold on now. Calm down. You're speaking like one prophet.
No, it will happen. It will happen. You know that I'm a prophet.
Calm down. Well, you heard him. There's that, look, this man should run for me. They give him an example and
he may not win, no. We are not saying he will win.
That he may not win.
We are not saying he will win.
He's not taking a look at the situation. Because according to some individuals, political crime right now in Kenya is like karma. Because according to reports, Raila Odinga has gotten, or let's say almost gotten what he's been looking for. Like what Godson said, it's my turn. It's just my turn. It's my turn. Shouldn't pass me by and all that. But should this be the case in African politics?
Yes.
Must it be about some certain group of persons?
Yeah, to reiterate, I said, when you say all things being equal,
here we go.
that's where I will agree both of them. But we are talking about motivational speakers. You are a pastor. God should take keep an eye on. What America is doing to Ukraine, you can fight Russia. They will give you all the arsenals. You can fight Russia. So it's not enough.
But they are trying today. They are making a big statement. Nobody told them that survived today. And yes, nobody told us.
The truth, but they will make a statement. I'm being realistic. I'm not saying you shouldn't make any statement. But if you make a statement, you make reference to Martin Luther King. It didn't really contest that. You can create a movement. It's not a gradual. Election is on the 9th of August in Kenya. Between March and August, how many months do we have? They can make a change and you have not been popular as it were all this while. So to make a drastic change will be difficult. But Mali says, who fights and runs away?
You need to fight someone that way.
So you re-strategize. With the electoral bill that was sent into law in January was to pin down Ruto's party. And any attempt to rise up again is incarcerated. Who will not speak for him? Does he have the followership? Does he have the platform to do anything? So indices we should consider if you really love Ruto. Ruto, as Godson said, we. I never did
How we support this?
Let's create an environment, a conducive one, to reach out to Ruto. Say, there are feelings of concerned friends in Nigeria. Do like this, do like that. Otherwise, Ruto already is complaining. He's complaining about so many things. He's seen a picture of imperial presidency, whereby the president will be on ground and rule over everybody, including the judiciary. I'm not saying what is happening is right, but I'm looking for the strategy for Ruto to consider before he can launch into it. A very giddy, who dare for him? Oh, could you please interpret? Interpret this for the listening pleasure of our viewers. I know, but this is a global thing like that. You must be strategic. That's the summary of it. Don't just rush into doing the thing. If you rush to do it, once there's a challenge, to seem as though you never had intention. So Ruto has good intentions. I support him by his age, 54. Trying to wage war, quote, against 61-77 and against a popular, well-renowned set of persons that have held sway over the governance of Kenya. You must plan carefully so that you could achieve, if not right now, in the nearest future, whatever aspirations you have.
All right, gentlemen, 1 minute is to summarize your points.
I disagree with him. The 1 minute to summarize. The electoral pastor is behaving like the bishop on the big seat with the gavel of destruction. He shouldn't discourage people like Rutus.
But he must make a change in Africa. But he is saying what is on the ground right now.
Don't look at what is on the ground. What we can create to change what is on the ground. Himself inclusive, because a young man. So I think Africa, it's unfortunate that Africa is barricaded with terrible leaders.
All right.
With all due respect to our leaders,
okay,
they should have the people at heart and ensure that life is better for the people of Africa.
Thank you so much, Barrister. Godson, briefly, 1 minute.
God, 1 minute. You see, how did APC come about? Do you know the history of APC? APC did not come as APC. I think if my memory serves me right, they started like CPC. It started like ANPP. After a while, there was a coalition. Somebody started somewhere. It was not noticed, but they kept on pushing. I want to quickly say this to all Africans that are listening. The change we desire will not come from the present political elite. When your politicians can stand and say, you know, amend the law so that I can be in office and contest. When they can stand and say, don't touch amending or trying to regulate sending our children abroad to school. You know what it means? They are not interested about your system. They can kill the university as long as their children are schooling. Now, what is going to happen is we have to rise up as an electorate, not violently. Violence is the weakest form of expression.
Thank you.
We have to rise up and challenge the system. All intellectuals, we must come together and sign the class of 60s that think they hold our collective destiny.
Thank you so much.
Because they don't.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
1 minute.
Africa doesn't have system.
Barrister, hold on. Watch your emotions. So the point is good to make a lot of assertions. But what plays at the end of the day is the reality on ground. I'm not saying what the deputy president is doing is wrong, but it has to be timely. You re-strategize and ensure that things work well.
All right.
For the betterment of Kenya and the extension of Africa.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, the for and the against. I really appreciate the wonderful analysis. Now, Hadron said, you as an electorate or a supporter of a particular political party or political individual, would it be a smart move for you to go lose your life because of a politician? Because of one party, you go out there to lose your life? Because the enmity between Raila Odinga and Kenyatta was massive. Persons lost their lives.
Over 1,000.
But today, they are 5 and 6. One anointed the other. Be smart. Be smart. Be smart. Gentlemen, thank you once more. I appreciate the wonderful analysis. Tomorrow, God willing, see you on International Forum. Bye for now.